You're listening to DraftKings Network.
Looking for a bourbon that's rewritten the entire playbook? Going against the grain is Larceny's whole game. Larceny uses wheat instead of rye in their mash bill for a smoother sip. And with 25% more wheat than the leading competitor, it brings unrivaled flavor to your bourbon lineup. So, stop asking what if and place your bet already. Seize tonight with Larceny Bourbon. Find a bottle near you at larcenybourbon.com. God Bless Football is brought to you by Larceny Bourbon, Bardstown, Kentucky. 46% alcohol by volume. Think wisely, drink wisely.
Stugotz here. Smirnoff knows there's no I in football. It's a we thing, an experience best enjoyed together. Whether you are at home or away, we rally together, we cry together, and we always rally cry together. Because in fandom, there's definitely no I. As the world's #1 vodka and the official vodka partner of the NFL, Smirnoff brings an award-winning taste to every game day celebration. Grab a bottle of Smirnoff at your local retailer and head to Smirnoff.com to find recipes of delicious cocktails perfect for game day. Please drink responsibly. Smirnoff, #21 vodka, distilled from grain, 40% alcohol volume. The Smirnoff Company, New York, New York. Please do not share with anyone under legal drinking age.
Folks, order like a champ with Raising Cane's mobile app or online at raisingcanes.com. You'll be able to feed the whole team this football season with cooked-to-order chicken fingers, crispy crinkle-cut fries, buttery Texas toast, and the reigning MVP, that signature Cane sauce. So grab your crew, make your next game day meal a touchdown. Game days are better together. Game days are better with Cane's. Raising Cane's chicken fingers. One love.
This podcast is sponsored by Talkspace. You know when you're really stressed or not feeling so great about your life or about yourself? Talking to someone who understands can really help. But who is that person? How do you find them? Where do you even start? Talkspace. Talkspace makes it easy to get the support you need. With Talkspace, you can go online, answer a few questions about your preferences, and be matched with a therapist. And because you'll meet your therapist online, you don't have to take time off work or arrange childcare. You'll meet on your schedule, wherever you feel most at ease. If you're depressed, stressed, struggling with a relationship, or if you want some counseling for you and your partner, or just need a little extra one-on-one support, Talkspace is here for you. Plus, Talkspace works with most major insurers, and most insured members have a $0 copay. No insurance? No problem. Now get $80 off of your first month with promo code SPACE80 when you go to Talkspace.com. Match with a licensed therapist today at Talkspace.com. Save $80 with code SPACE80 at Talkspace.com.
God Bless Football is presented by Smirnoff. We do game days. Please drink responsibly. The Smirnoff Company, New York, New York. Stugotz, Mikey.
Sir.
God bless football.
God bless football. God bless Tua.
Yeah, man. It happened again, unfortunately. It was a rough night as it was headed into it, and then we saw it. We saw what everyone's been worried about with Tua happen again on the field. We saw his hands do the thing again when he went down. I think everyone immediately knew that it was a concussion. And you know, it wasn't a great game for him to begin with. He had 3 picks. Now, granted, one of them was off of a deflection, and then the other one seemed like it was a confusion on the play.
First two not his fault. The last one was his fault, obviously. So, but
yeah, the last one was
right,
just a
yes.
poor decision.
Yes.
And I think we saw what some of us were worried about with Tua when he said that he was dropping weight. He wanted to be more mobile. He wanted to run. He had a couple scrambles last night, and then the one where he gets injured, he just takes off and runs. He gets the first down, and then, you know, instead of sliding, he just goes head first into Damar Hamlin's chest and concusses himself, really. It wasn't even like a nasty play. It wasn't a dirty hit. It was just not a great decision, and here we are again.
Yeah, it's unbelievable that it's Damar Hamlin's chest that his head is crashing into, and I'm sitting there watching it, and I'm like, no, because one of the things Tua worked on 2 off seasons ago was not going head first, was learning how to slide and slide correctly. And you're right, Billy. He is more nimble. He is he was, at least through the first 2 games, a guy who made some moves out of the pocket that, quite frankly, you haven't seen from Tua. But last night, head first right into Damar Hamlin, and it begs the question of whether or not, I don't think we'll see Tua for the remainder of this year, and I am not certain we'll see Tua ever play quarterback again. I think Tua will want to play quarterback again, but I'm guessing family members, they want Tua to be healthy. They want Tua to be there long term. They want Tua to leave a good, productive life. And I would imagine family members today, Billy, are telling Tua, hey, that's it. Like, enough. Let's move on.
I mean, it's early, right? It just happened last night, so we still don't have the extent of it. We know it was a diagnosed concussion. In a lot of instances at this point, you say, okay, well, it's a Thursday, then you have 10 days until the next game. But this obviously is not a situation, I think, where many people are thinking he will be back playing next week, or maybe should be playing back next week. I was talking to some people yesterday, and just fans, not like, anyone in the medical fields or anything, that were saying like, well, probably not going to come back before the bye week, which is, I think, 4 more games and then the bye week. It's like the end of October. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. The time frame on this one's going to be interesting. And, not to immediately make it about football, but it's going to be interesting to see how the Dolphins handle this situation, both for Tua's health and for, their own season. Because, people are talking, okay, Ryan Tannehill's out there. Is this going to be where Tannehill signs? There was a Tannehill to Green Bay speculation when Jordan Love got hurt. Then every crazy Dolphin fan is like, well, Tom Brady, Stephen Ross is already talking to him again.
It's a fair thought, by the way.
What's that?
It's a fair thought. It's fair for people to think that. I mean,
it unfortunately, you start thinking, well, how do we salvage this season? Because it felt look, it's week 2, but yesterday was a devastating game for the Dolphins, right? Yes. They play the Bills, who they cannot beat, and that game was going exactly like that again. Before the injury, it was not going great for the Dolphins regardless. They were down by 21 points. They were getting blown out at home, which, as we talk to Golic later this episode, we'll talk about the importance of winning home games against your division, especially this early in the season. But yeah, last night was probably about as bad as a game the Dolphins could have had, both on and off the field. Things went terribly for them yesterday.
We will have Mike Golic on, as Billy mentioned, Chris Sims as well. Carl Douglas going to join us to talk about what happened with Tyreek Hill. There's a reason we do not ask them about what happened last night with Tua, and that reason is we recorded with them all before last night's game. So that is the reason. Our thoughts, our prayers, not about football today. It's with Tua. It's with his family. They have big decisions to make moving forward. It's a violent game, and my guess is Tua is going to want to continue to play football and go out on his terms, and my guess is his family. My wife was telling me last night, I asked her, if that happens to me, what are you doing? She said, I'm telling you, you've played your last football game. We'll see what happens with Tua.
By the way, if you want to compete against us in fantasy, go to dkng.co/Le Batard. It's a God Bless Football Fantasy weekly contest presented by Smirnoff, the world's #1 vodka. Please drink responsibly.
In order to have a nightcap, you need to have a night first. Make good on some bets. Then pour some smoothness in your glass with Larceny Wheated Bourbon. Whether propelling your parlay with a refreshing paper plane or celebrating a big payout with a classic Kentucky Mule, Larceny has all the flavor you need to craft cocktails so tasty they'll have you toasting victory like a high roller. You're in charge, so lock in the call. Find a bottle near you at larcenybourbon.com and seize tonight. God Bless Football is brought to you by Larceny Bourbon, Bardstown, Kentucky. 46% alcohol by volume. Think wisely, drink wisely.
God bless football, Billy Gill.
God bless football, Mikey A.
God bless football, Mike Golic. God bless football, Stugotz, and one and all.
Thank you, Mike. Yes, we haven't spoken to you since Notre Dame lost at home. Why are Billy and Mikey A laughing? Because I started with God bless football?
Well, yeah, because we're into the thick of the show at this point in time.
Yes.
And at the time of
God bless football.
Yeah,
yes,
we
but
God
when
bless
I welcome
football
in Mike
already.
Golic, I have to say God bless football. Any new guest that comes on the show, I'm going to say God bless football to.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Rude.
Absolutely right. Yes. Come on, Billy. Don't try and change the show.
Just not Carl Douglas later, but we'll get to that when we get
Serious
to that.
topics with Carl Douglas. Okay.
So I have a question for the group and the class here, and it's based on what Stugotz just said. I feel like at this point in the week, I don't even want to laugh at Notre Dame anymore. I feel like Mike has heard it from everyone. I feel like it's just rude at this point. Like they're on to this next week here. We don't need to like go back and talk about NIU, right?
Listen, it's more my son Mike who takes these losses still really, really hard. I move on. You know what? I was at the game. I watched the game. I was bummed at the loss, and I move on. I mean, listen, what can you say about the game? NIU outplayed them. I mean, Marcus Freeman said, hey, between coaches and players, we probably read the clippings too much. You got basically caught with your pants down, and it may cost you. Now, again, they have a long season to go. You have a 12-team playoff, but you know what? I don't even worry about that right now. I worry about this team playing a solid game like they did against Texas A&M and didn't do against NIU. You got to find consistency. They take on Purdue, and let's just get a win. Let's get a win and start to progress. I was just hoping in that NIU game that they would pull off a win, a 1-point win, a 3-point win, a 7-point win, and just move on, because as we talked about, other big name schools just barely got by some small name schools. That's a week 2. That's kind of what happens. You just find a way, but Notre Dame did not find a way, and all the credit goes to Northern Illinois.
Billy, I know what's happening here. You and I have discussed it. It's why college football has been ruined by a 12-team playoff. He knows he still has a shot of getting into the playoffs. That's why he's not crushed.
Yeah, I suppose.
Yeah, but
it helps, Mike.
Listen, I mean, I love a 12-team playoff. And yes, does it help Notre Dame now that they had this one bad loss? Yes, it does. But I still think a 12-team playoff was better for college football anyway.
Mike, here's the thing, and perhaps I was wrong on this, because you have a game tonight, Arizona and Kansas State. You have some games over the weekend, I think Missouri and BC.
BC, yeah.
So there are more games that mean more, if that kind of makes sense, because there is a 12-team playoff. But if Kansas State or Arizona gets into the 12-team playoff, I don't see them going very far in a 12-team playoff. It's not like either of those two teams, in my opinion, have a chance of winning a national championship.
No, they don't. The more you make the playoffs, obviously, the more teams you are in it that don't have a chance. But it's still the playoffs, and it's still like you never know what can happen, and it still can help with recruiting and help with raising money in the collective for the NIL. If you're a playoff team, you know, all that can go to the positive. I get what you're saying. It's hard to think a 12th or 11th or a 10th ranked team will have a shot, but you never know. You never know, and that's the beauty of sports. And now where people say it'll ruin the regular season, I don't think it will, because before it was teams like 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 were fighting for that 4th spot. Now It's going to be, teams, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 fighting for that 12th spot.
Mike, I hate to compare it to the NFL, but with a 12-team playoff, it's kind of the same thing. How long until making the playoffs isn't going to be enough for certain coaches, and making it is not good enough? Now you have to actually go farther.
Bounced out in the first round, right?
Yeah. Well, it depends on the team, right? It depends on the blue blood of the team.
Notre Dame.
Notre Dame, listen, they got to the playoffs a couple of times, and they got knocked out in the first round of it. I would say a lot depends on where you're seated. If you're Notre Dame and you're seated 5, 6, 7, 8, especially 5, 6, which I don't know if they will be now, unless they would run the table, it'd still be tough to get a first round win. But I think it all depends on the team. Like Kansas State, Arizona, hey, you're happy to get there, right? Because it's a 12 team, you got there. But if you start getting there consistently, then you have to show more progress. Just like for the Detroit Lions, they got to the NFC Championship game. Well, next year, this year, it's the next step. Now you win it, you go to the Super Bowl. You always try and take that next step and not be satisfied with where you got.
Mike, I said earlier this week that rare do we have a coach on a hot seat where the coach is hotter than the seat he's sitting on. Should Marcus Freeman, he's a good-looking guy. Yeah. Should Marcus Freeman be on some sort of hot seat, Mike? What do you think?
Man, I hope not. But the 2 years ago, his first year, he lost to Marshall. And he understands. Listen, everybody loves the guy. He's a great guy. He's a great recruiter, but he even understands The bottom line is you have to win. And when you're at Notre Dame, you have to be fighting for the national championship because you're not in a conference. So third year, is he on the hot seat? Let's let it play out. It was a bad game that they lost to Northern Illinois, but it was a good game they won at Texas A&M. So I still think he has more time before you really say he's on a hot seat.
Well, you have a big one against Purdue here coming off the rare week 2 bye. So we'll see how they're prepared for that. I think Notre Dame actually has like a good chance. So you play Louisville and you play USC, and those are really the only 2 ranked teams I think you have on your schedule coming up. So like you win one of those, you're a 2-loss team. You could get in as a 2-loss Notre Dame, I would think.
Well, I mean, and then let's not forget Florida State, because by the time they play Florida State's going to be better than what they are. The guys are going to play together more. But the problem with a 2-loss, because I still think I don't think we'll have a 3-loss team in the top 12. I think it'll be 2 losses is the max. And I think the 2 losses, the tough part would be any other team Notre Dame is getting compared to with 2 losses. None of those teams' loss will be as bad as a Notre Dame Northern Illinois loss. Yeah. So that will effectively hurt Notre Dame because their schedule this year was favorable to them, and they already let one go in Northern Illinois. So that's what could come back and bite them.
In that situation, do you think a 2-loss, like if the second loss comes the last week against USC, where you're a 1-loss Notre Dame team, maybe on the fringes there of the rankings, is it better to lose to Louisville midseason or USC at the end of the year?
Well, I think a lot would depend on where USC is ranked. You know, if USC is ranked high, you know, they have obviously a tough schedule to go through. But what are they now? They're 11th. If they say they're in the top 10, then certainly beating a USC team and having a second loss already, but then beating a top 10 USC team last, because that's the last look you get at Notre Dame. So you'd like the last look to be a win, especially against a highly ranked team, since they'll be sitting out for the conference championship games.
The Northern Illinois loss also may not look that bad if they run the table, right? Because right now they're in the AP top 25. They're number 25. So that may end up not looking like as bad of a loss if they kind of start stacking some wins here.
Well, they could be the group of 5 best team, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
then it ends up being a quality loss. That 2 losses, 2 playoff teams.
Could you imagine if the NIU game turned out to be a quality loss for Notre Dame? If NIU kept moving up the rankings, that would be incredible. But we have a long way to go before that. Notre Dame just needs to get a quality win against Purdue. They need to come out and look better. They got embarrassed. They flat out got embarrassed, and everybody knows it. You can't hide from that fact. You can't say it was a fluke. They beat them in every NIU beat Notre Dame in every statistical category, and it was somewhat stunning sitting there watching that. I kept thinking, they just win, you'll win a close one, you win a close one, and NIU just did it to them. So kudos to them.
Mike, is Texas the best team in college football?
Well, I think it's Texas and Georgia. I think Texas and Georgia, I would put Ohio State down just a hair, but those 3 at the top. Texas is absolutely. Now, let's not overinflate the Michigan win. I thought they would win by double digits. I absolutely thought they would win by double digits. And that's nothing against Michigan. Michigan lost a ton of players, and they're riding off the fact that they won a national championship. So if it's a down year, so be it. And a down year means a few losses, not a losing season. So I expected them to go in and handle their business against Michigan. So I think they are just Quinn Ewers is playing like the Heisman Trophy winner right now. He and a couple other guys out there, but they are absolutely, they and Georgia, I think, are separating themselves as the top 2 teams in the country.
Just going over to the NFL here, Mike, what do you make of all the conversation of training camp, the importance of training camp? Peyton Manning talked about it as it relates to Brandon Ayuk. A lot, Troy Aikman said the quarterback play was disgusting in week 1, and it wasn't great. And he's right. I don't know if that has to do with training camp. What are your thoughts?
Well, I mean, the touchdown passes were basically cut in half from week one last year, or I believe week one to this year. Now, you have some things that will affect that. You have 3 rookie quarterbacks, so you didn't expect much out of them. You had 4 or 5 quarterbacks coming off of major injuries, and so really knocking off the rust in week one. And then you had some average play by quarterbacks. So to go into training camp, the starters don't barely play in the preseason anymore. The basically you have practices together. They'll practice for 2 days and then play a preseason game. And in practice, I like the practices basically for every position but the quarterback, because the quarterback can't get hit in those practices. It's not live for the quarterback. It's live for everybody else, but it's not live for the quarterback. They have no threat of getting hit, and they know they're not getting hit. There's something about the guts you have to stand in there when you know you're not going to get tattooed. So, and then they don't play a lot in the preseason games. Hell, look at Cincinnati. Zach Taylor as a head coach is 1-10 in his time in Cincinnati in the first 2 games of the season. They don't play anybody in the preseason. They don't get work in with the first team in the preseason, and it shows they're not prepared. So there's just not enough hitting that goes on in the preseason and not enough live tackling. You miss tackles. And with the quarterback, like I just said, the quarterback position, preseason, they barely play. Practices, it's not live for them. So they're less prepared.
How do we solve that? Like, what's the fix for the NFL? Because they're not going to play more in the preseason. Then they add a game to the end of the year. It seems like these first 2 weeks are basically preseason games that count for teams.
There's no fix because the players got it in the deal to have no two-a-days. OTAs are less strenuous than they've been before. And there's only 1 padded practice a day. You can't go 2. So that's not going to change. And I don't think that coaches are going to start playing their starters more in the preseason. And that's going to get cut down again. It's going to go to an 18 game schedule, and it's going to go to 2 preseason games. So you're going to get more teams practicing against one another, which I said is fine for other positions, but not fine for the quarterback because they're not facing live bullets.
It's not going to stop teams and fan bases from panicking after 2 weeks.
No.
Is there anybody who should be?
Well, yeah, the old panic after the first week. Well, I mean,
the Packers.
Panic's a relative term because of situation. Packers, Jordan Love being hurt. Now, he's not going on IR. They're seeing about week to week. But this is when you trust your backup quarterback. Like, remember when Dak went out for 5 games, Cooper Rush came in and went 4-1 in those 5 games, kept their head above water. That's a backup's job. Keep your team's head above water while you're treading water until your quarterback gets back. Can Malik Willis do that? I have no idea. And how much time will Jordan Love miss? And how much of a hole do you fall into if you lose games? And then there's the situation in Carolina where you have though you gave away a lot on defense, you tried to build up offensively around your quarterback, and it's still horrible. So it's like there's no improvement from whether it's game 1 to game 2 or year 1 to year 2. So there's different factions in should you feel like there's a panic button. Is there panic in Chicago? Because Caleb Williams, who got so built up, oh my God. And I was not one of them. I was like, oh, this is preseason, man. It doesn't count. It doesn't count. And everybody was ready for him to go off. And he looked wide-eyed out there, which was a little bit shocking. But again, you're going against, going live for basically the first time. You got a little bit of time in preseason, but basically live going for the first time. And it showed. So it's different variations for different teams on whether you're panicking. But overall, I rarely panic after 1 week.
Mike, let's get your thoughts here on a couple of the big games, NFL games this weekend. Bucks and Lions, Baker Mayfield. You could say through week 1, the MVP of the NFL season. He has been great since he has joined Tampa. This is a fun game. Bucks at Lions, your thoughts?
I like the Lions, but boy, Baker Mayfield, the change of scenery did him well. When he went and did that quick, great thing with the Rams but everybody knew he wasn't going to be the quarterback of the Rams. So you knew he had to find a new home. And he found one in Tampa. In Cleveland, they wanted him out. It wasn't like he was wanted there. It's like sometimes a change of situation can be good. But I just think Detroit, I have Detroit as my Super Bowl pick. I just think Detroit has too much. While they're getting used to a new secondary, they're not going to face the passing attack from Baker Mayfield in this offense that they did from the Rams, even though they lost Puka Nacua. Cooper Kupp had himself a monster game. Detroit, just in overtime, just decided to ram the ball down the Rams' throat and just run it down and win in overtime. So they can get you throwing the ball, they can get you running the ball, and maybe Aiden Hutchinson has some help on that D-line with Marcus Davenport, who's been kind of an injured guy through his career, but had some pressures in game one. So I like Detroit.
How about Chiefs Bengals? Two things on that. One is, should the Bengals, Joe Burrow says his wrist is not an issue. It's fine. He's coming off surgery. He's going to be fine. They always get off to a slow start. Should Bengals fans be concerned about Burrow? And your thoughts on this game? Fun game.
I don't think they should be concerned about his wrist. I think they should be concerned about the offense and the defense.
Right.
Yeah. The Bengals knew the Patriots weren't going to pass their way to a victory. And so they knew they had to run the ball, and they still ran the ball. That's like going up to the line and the offensive line saying, we're running this play and it's succeeding.
Right.
The Bengals got run all over when you knew that was the way New England had to get yards.
The only way. Yeah.
And then offensively, my God, I don't think they ran the ball enough. I know they lost Joe Mixon, who had a big game with the Texans, but I don't think they ran the ball enough because it was a one-score game going into the fourth quarter. It's not like you're out of your game plan. I think they could have run the ball more. And it was just, but it goes to the sample size and the of what I said about Zach Taylor teams. 1-10 in the first 2 weeks in his time there. They're just not ready. And now you're taking on Kansas City. Come on. This is an easy pick for me, which means Cincinnati will win.
That's funny. Le Batard said earlier this week, and I think I agree with this, that you could say over the last 5 to 6 years, San Francisco has been the best team in the NFL, best roster in the NFL.
Yes.
They haven't won a Super Bowl. They've been to a couple, but the only difference is Mahomes is he takes that team over the top. So the Niners have the better team. The Chiefs have the better quarterback. Is that fair?
Yeah, but the Chiefs maybe, because the Chiefs had a Midland offense that ticked off Pat Mahomes last year. But Rashee Rice is a second-year player now and did really well in week one. Xavier Worthy had 3 touches and 2 touchdowns. You still have Travis Kelce. You have Pacheco in the backfield. You have a good old line while you're breaking in a rookie left tackle. And your defense led your team last year. So I think their roster is getting close to being as talented as San Francisco's roster.
All right, last thing on the way out here. We appreciate the time as always. Dan Orlovsky said it's time to go to Jameis Winston in Cleveland. There's a lot to dissect there, but do you agree, Mike?
Look at Cleveland and what they did in giving him that deal and ticking off everybody when wasn't criminal. It was civil lawsuits that went on. Cleveland still paid him, and now Cleveland's going to look for a clause to get out of their deal, right? They are absolutely going to look for a clause to get out of their deal. And if it's not this game, and if they lose again, if it's not this game, it needs to be in the real quick future when they go to Jameis. Without question, because it has been an absolute abject failure with play and injury with Deshaun Watson.
Right. Take all the off the field. I imagine some of it seeps into his on-field play, but he has been a bad quarterback for over a year now, Deshaun Watson. So
yes, he is not going to regain what he had in Houston. It's just not going to happen. And he's just not playing well.
All right, Mike. Gojo and Golic, check him out 8 to 10 a.m. every morning on the DraftKings Network. Do you have a game this week, Mike?
I do have a game. I will be in Houston doing the Bears at the Texans.
Wow, that's
your
big
Super Bowl pick at the Texans. Yes.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I picked the Bears. No one else picked the Bears.
I know you did.
Yeah, Bears and Jets. Jets not looking so good. Bears,
no, not really.
CJ Stroud's amazing. Mike, thank you. Looking forward to the football weekend. We will talk to you next week. Hopefully Notre Dame is still in the hunt for the playoff spot.
All right. Stop with the Notre Dame stuff.
Be a 12 seed. It is time for this week's edition of Stugotz, presented by DraftKings. Stay tuned because you'll hear more about DraftKings and all it has to offer throughout the show. DraftKings, the crown is yours.
College football, week 3, 3-5 last week, 8-8 on the season. Week 3, here we go. Arizona, Kansas State, Friday night football. Arizona +7 at Kansas State. I like Arizona here. Kansas State wins the game. Arizona covers. Buy it up to 7.5. Kansas State wins by 4 points at home. Arizona with the cover. We go to Missouri. Good game. 2 ranked teams. A lot of people like Missouri. BC +17 at Missouri. Missouri wins the game. BC covers. Missouri by 8 points at home. Notre Dame, bounce back week, -10 at Purdue. Buy it down to 9.5 points. Notre Dame wins and they cover. Notre Dame by 14 points on the road. Oregon State, take it on Oregon. Already? We're already doing it? All right. Oregon State +17 at Oregon. I'm not certain about Oregon, and I have no idea about Oregon State. When I'm not certain about a team and I have no idea about the other team, I take the other team. Oregon State, they'll lose the game, but Oregon will win the game. Oregon State will cover. Oregon by 6 points at home over Oregon State. Big one for Billy. FAU, FIU. Oh, the rivalry. Can't believe it. Sorry, Billy.
Shula Ball.
FIU to beat FIU. FAU -5. They win. They cover. FAU by 14 points at home. And finally, Oklahoma -13.5 taking on Tulane. The Sooners win. They cover. Oklahoma by 21 points at home. NFL week 2. I was 5-3 a week ago. Off to a good start. We'll take it. Ravens -8 taking on the Raiders. Ravens win. They cover. Ravens by 14 points at home. I think the Ravens are the second best team in the NFL. They're 0-1. Cowboys -6 taking on the Saints. The Cowboys win. They cover. Cowboys by 14 points at home. Colts -3 at the Packers. Malik Willis, get out of here. They should have signed Ryan Tannehill. They didn't. The Colts, Anthony Richardson, the greatest quarterback to only start 18 games in the history of football. Colts win and cover. Colts -2.5 because you're going to buy down a half point. The Colts win by 4 points on the road. Jets, bounce back week. Mikey A is going to hate me. They're 3.5 point favorites at Tennessee. Why? Because the Jets are good. That's why. I still believe in them. Buy down to 3, though. Okay? I only believe in them at 3, not 3.5. The Jets at the Titans. Jets -3. Jets win by 8 points on the road. Seahawks at New England. Patriots. No. Seahawks -3. Sneaky good team. I'm taking Seattle here. They win. They cover. The Seahawks by 7 points on the road. Tampa +7.5 taking on Detroit. Big game this weekend. Detroit wins. Tampa covers. Buy it up to 8. Detroit by 4 points over the Bucs at home. Jacksonville taking on Cleveland. Buy it down a half point. Jacksonville is a 3-point favorite. The Browns stink. They do. Deshaun Watson, awful. Jacksonville wins. They cover. Jacksonville by 10 points. Steelers -2 at Denver. Revenge game for Russell Wilson, who's not even starting for the Steelers. I'm taking the Steelers anyway. I don't believe in Bo Nix, and I can't stand Sean Payton. The Steelers win by 14 points on the road. And finally, there's no way Sam Darnold's good. I'm not buying it. I don't care what anyone tells me, and I know San Francisco is good. The Niners, -5 at Minnesota. San Francisco wins. They cover. The Niners by 21 points over Sam Darnold. How about that? Those are the picks, everyone. Good luck.
Folks, it's tailgate time at Raising Cane's. Whether you're rooting for your squad or that other team, Cane's craveable combos rally every fan for the greatest game day ever. Make some epic memories with some cooked-to-order chicken fingers, crispy crinkle-cut fries, buttery Texas toast, and that reigning MVP, that signature Cane sauce. So grab your crew, make your next tailgate a touchdown. Game days are better together. Game days are better with Cane's. Raising Cane's chicken fingers. One love.
Our friend Carl Douglas, one of the great attorneys here in America, is going to join us. He's in LA right now. He has his Rams hat on. It looks like he's going to play golf when he's done with us, but we wanted to bring Carl on to talk about what happened with Tyreek Hill
last week before the Dolphin game. Before we get to that, though, I was privy to a wonderful conversation where Carl Douglas was giving the stages of parenthood to one Mikey A. Carl, can you give your stages of the advice you gave Mikey A? Please give it to me, Billy, and the rest of the audience, because I think it's great advice.
Thank you so much, Stugotz, for having me. It's always a pleasure being with you and my buddies at Metalark. I was telling Mikey A, who has 2 boys, because I've raised a boy myself, and his 2 boys are 8 years old and 5 years old. And I was telling Mikey A, right now, he is the king for those 2 boys.
Yep.
I remember my son would start clapping and shouting whenever he would hear me coming into the garage. So Mikey A, right now, they are just, you're the king. However,
it's wonderful.
Wait until they turn about 12.
Oh, yeah, Carl, you tell them.
And once they turn about 12, just remember you love those motherfuckers. Because they're going to test you, man.
Oh, boy.
No, he's right.
You want to just write that down?
Yo, Carl is right. Those motherfuckers become evil.
You love the motherfuckers because they're going to test you.
Yeah.
And my son is 31, and the light is just now coming on.
Yeah.
That's a long time.
It's good advice. He's right, though. I mean, so you got about 4 years left, Mike, of being the king. That's about it.
I'm going to enjoy it.
You should.
I'm going to try.
It's a great time of life, Mikey.
Yes.
Enjoy it, and then the other stage will come, my brother.
Yeah.
Is this just a boy problem, or does this happen with girls as well, Carl?
No, girls are different. Girls are much more disciplined.
Yeah.
Stugotz will tell you there may be other kind of problems, but they're much more disciplined in that teenage years than boys are.
Yes.
Boys, I'm told, have the judgment of someone with a traumatic brain injury until they turn 30 years old.
Yeah. He's right about that, Bill. Oof. I mean, with girls, it is different. I'm still king with my girls, and my girls take care. I have no doubt that if I need either of my daughters, they will drop whatever it is they are doing, and they will find their way to me somehow, some way. Boys, not the same. Not the same.
I'd have to pay his ass to come and help me out.
That's exactly right. The girls would volunteer. You're right. But remember, Carl, you love those motherfuckers, okay?
But you got to remember that. You got to keep reminding yourself of that because they will test you.
Yes, they will test you. Carl, there's no easy transition for this out of parenthood to Tyreek Hill, but I am wondering, as you saw that video of Tyreek Hill being pulled over by the cops before a Dolphin game, as you saw that video play, Carl, what were your thoughts?
There were 2 things that came to mind, Stugotz, and both of them can be true. One, Tyreek was a bit of a jerk himself, sort of the hubris of being a well-paid athlete right outside of the stadium. Come on, man, just give me the ticket so I go on my way. Not rolling the window down, normal things that you would expect that a lawful citizen who's not a star wide receiver would do. But at the same time, the officer overreacted and used excessive force, and it was clear. Cops are trained to deal with motorists who sometimes are uncooperative or sometimes are jerks. And you saw the power dynamic that is unfortunately so much of the part of old school police officers. When I tell you to do something, you do it. Pulling him down to the ground just to exert his dominance and power. And Stugotz, I'm going to say it. I dare say if it had been a fair-skinned athlete in the same circumstance, I'm not certain that the exercise of power would have been the same way. And it is regrettable that still in 2024 in America, I'm still not certain that if it had been the kicker or one of the linemen in that same circumstance, that there would not have been a far different reaction and response from the officer. Because when this black kid was a jerk, the officer overreacted And regrettably, the other officers that were also there didn't step in. They have an obligation as well because they protect and serve to step in and tell the cop to chill out or to relax or to try to de-escalate. When they saw Calais Campbell coming on, putting him in handcuffs was, again, another sign of their misuse of their power and authority, regrettably, with a racial tinge added on top.
Carl, when Tyreek Hill says, I wanted to keep my window up because the people who were driving by were trying to take photos of me, and I didn't want those photos out there, what do you say to that?
He was speeding.
Right.
He was violating the law. And his obligations were to the officer who was then. Now, I don't know, Stugotz, why there had to be 3 cops that were there on motorcycles. It wasn't that big of a deal. Give me a break.
Right. They're working the Dolphin game, just so you know. They're working the Dolphin game, working at that spot. I've seen them there before.
Fair enough. But he violated the law, man. And so you have to accept the consequences of the circumstances of your own actions. When the cop, when he said, stop banging on my window, that was a jerk move, I thought. He didn't have to say that because clearly there had to be some interchange, some conversation to make sure he's not intoxicated. If he's driving recklessly and speeding, that might create a danger. But at the same time, the exercise of power that the cop exerted, to me, was excessive. His suspension was appropriate. I doubt that he will be fired. I'm not sure that Tyreek really needs to file a lawsuit because he has garnered the goodwill of most of America on his side. It's not unusual that the police union would back their cops. They do so in every instance. That's what they're there for. Just like the Player Association would probably back Tyreek. But certainly, both sides could have reacted and responded differently, and I think the result would have been different.
Carl, explain to people why the cops want your window to be down, especially a tinted window. They're afraid that they don't know who this person is yet. They should have known. They didn't know who he was. I'm assuming they're afraid that he's going for a weapon, right?
In most states, Stugotz, the driver's window cannot be blackened because it creates a risk and danger to police officers. Every police officer has a story that they've been told of a seemingly innocent traffic stop turning deadly. Cops will say the most important thing that you have to do when you approach a car is to watch the person's hands. That's why you're always trained and told to keep your hands on the steering wheel, to not reach for the glove compartment until the cop gets there, because the ability to see the hands is the source of danger or safety to a police officer. So if the windows that are blackened are up and the cop is not able to see while he's writing a ticket or being distracted, he is in a position of vulnerability that is not in his best interest. So I understand his acceptance or his insistence that the driver roll the window down while I'm talking to you.
What'd you make of if you watch the entire video there, one cop realizes, oh, this is Tyreek Hill. This is one of the Dolphins' best players, and someone just yells out because they knew that they were going to get dragged. The cops knew they were about to get dragged, and that seems to me if they knew it was Tyreek Hill, they would have just let him go on his way and get to the game, which doesn't sit well with a lot of people either, Carl.
That is, for better or for worse, Stugotz, a reality of life in America. Celebrities, athletes get better seats at restaurants. They do get treated differently. It is fundamentally unfair. I suspect if the first officer had realized, because he had run the plates, for example, and before reaching the front window, realized Tyreek Hill was right there, right outside the stadium, and recognized him. He was, hey, man, Tyreek, come on, man, take it easy, slow down, you're being a risk, and let him go on into the game. So certainly, and that would have been while unfair, a consequence which is a benefit of celebrity, just like if he had seen that J-Lo was driving that car recklessly. He probably would not have given J-Lo a ticket and let her go on her way because he had that kind of discretion.
Right.
However, because Tyreek had an attitude about tapping my window and he was not subservient or sufficiently respectful to the authority of the badge, that will annoy a cop as soon or as quick as anything.
Carl, if you were advising Tyreek, you'd tell him, let's just end it here.
Yeah. Certainly, it is distressing to be pulled from the car, to be placed on the ground, to be handcuffed, to be forced down and forced into a seated position. That is indeed a distressful event. But for Tyreek Hill, on balance, he'll be able to squeeze whatever goodwill he'll be able or seek to squeeze from this consequence.
And he needs it.
And he needs it.
Yep.
More than he needs the money or any money, or more than he needs to have himself draped in a formal lawsuit. Because clearly, for the most part, I think, Stugotz, the winds of public opinion are in his favor.
Yes.
The officer has been immediately put on leave, which basically suggests that someone recognizes he overreacted. So Tyreek is probably going to enjoy the best goodwill, and I think his goodwill would be enhanced were he choosing to not sue and say, I love the cops. I want to be a cop. There are some bad apples. I hope he learns from this experience. Let's go on and let's win Dolphins.
Right. It's hard to do that. You can't do that. And he's trying to do that while saying the officer should be fired. Like, that doesn't.
That's Drew talking, I think.
Yeah, I guess.
That's Drew trying to keep the.
So what if Tyreek says to you, Carl, I'm not looking for your opinion here. I'm looking for you to represent me. Would you take this case, and how would you try in a minute, right?
In a New York minute.
Right, of course, yes.
Of course, it's Tyreek Hill. Are you kidding me?
Right.
He is wrong.
Right. No, okay, so how would you go about that case? Like, how would you try it?
Well, first, it would never be tried. You only try your tough cases, Stugotz. This one, the video says it all.
Right.
Just because I'm a jerk doesn't mean I'm a threat to anybody with three officers standing there with their hands on their guns. They reacted because he was an uppity young black kid with too much money driving a fancy car who broke the law. But the consequence breaking the law is still the presumption of innocence. You don't pull me out of the car because I don't roll my window down. That is excessive.
See, Carl, that's the problem. Carl, that's the problem for me, because we've all been pulled over, right? We're in a rush to get somewhere, and that's the reason we're speeding probably in the first place, okay? Why can't they? And a cop's job is to de-escalate these situations. He's approaching your car. You're already nervous. You're in a rush. You know you're getting a ticket. Why can't the conversation simply be, hey, I was speeding, busted, you got me. Give me the ticket. Let me move on with my day.
Because I've been a cop for 25 years, Stugotz.
Yeah.
And when I say jump, you ask me how high. You don't say I don't want to jump.
Right.
I've been a cop with a gun. What I like are other cops and guns. I don't like a young black kid floyding my authority, telling me to just do my job so I can get on with it, trying to talk down to me, refusing to follow my commands when I am the epitome of authority in this moment. So I'm going to teach you, young black kid, a lesson. I'm not going to take this gruff from you like this. I'm going to show you who's the boss. He said it. When I tell you jump, you better jump. Don't ask me why I should be jumping. And regrettably, that is all too often the thoughts, the feelings, and the attitudes of middle-aged, 20-year-plus police officers who are not prepared to adjust to the new realities that are preferable for policing, where de-escalation should be on your first mind and not the imposition of your authority. And that's the problem, Stugotz. 25-year-old cop, he's been doing it the same way for 24 of those years.
Right. It's so funny. You read the cop, Billy, he's a DJ part-time?
No.
Yeah. Oh,
I
yeah.
didn't know that.
It's so Miami. It's great. It's
Trying to make some scratch.
By the way, Billy would love if the kicker for the Dolphins got pulled over. He would want him thrown in jail and throw away the key. I mean, you don't like
Oh,
him.
he's on my
Jason
fantasy
Sanders.
team. I love that
Jason,
guy.
if you love
Sanders.
Jason Sanders, you can't love Jason Sanders. If he's on your fantasy team, you don't love him, Carl.
Wait, Carl, so you would take the case, it would never get to court, you would plea it out. How much money would Tyreek be getting? How did that work out? How would that work out?
Stugotz in sportscasting, 2 + 2 is 4.
Yeah.
Billy, and your mic work, 2 + 2 is 4. In law, 2 + 2 is somewhere between 3 and 5. It depends. Everything in law is it depends. Here, it is clear, I believe, that the officer used excessive force. There has to be some time for the investigation to take its course. He's not going to be fired. He is being disciplined. Tyreek is going to claim that he's been injured, but the injury is not going to be severe. The embarrassment, the inconvenience, the emotional distress of what happened could clearly be valued at $100,000 or more. And for Tyreek, who knows how much more would be paid to make it go away. Because it's not good for the Miami Police Department to have this cloud over its head. Tyreek is a beloved figure in South Florida, I assume, and he would not want to continue too much to have this hanging over his season because it would be a distraction, I think.
Right.
But certainly, there is a number that both sides would agree to. It would be resolved, I think, sooner than later, in my opinion.
Look at that smile on his face because he's thinking about the amount of money he would pocket. I mean, I love it. You are you know what? You're a gem, Carl. I love you. I do.
Hey, thank you, Stugotz. Man, we go back for a long time. It's always a pleasure being with you and your guys.
Yes, and we'll have you on later in the program. We'll go from something serious to you making picks with KFunk.
Looking forward to it.
All right, man.
Hello.
Got a lot of phlegm in that voice, Sims. I mean,
Yeah, that wasn't a good one.
He was choked up. Hey, seriously. Well, you know, he's a little nervous. He's got a man crush on me. I understand that.
I'm seeing a big star right now. I can't believe it.
You are a big star. That was pretty cool to see you with all those people. You had a fucking security team, Chris Sims.
Well, we had to get back to a next segment on, live TV. So it wasn't like I usually roll with security guards around me. It's more that like, hey, we had to run through the stadium and we ran through the crowd underneath the stadium to get on the field. So that's why they were kind of shuffling me along there. But it was good to see you guys. It really was.
Well, it's great to see you. We saw you for a second, and you gave me a quick hug. You said, I got to get the hell out of here. And you were mobbed by fans. I mean,
we had fun. It's always great being in the parking lot with the fans and doing that, let alone like doing a segment to open up the season with them around me. I couldn't hear myself. Somebody knocked me over a little bit in the middle of the segment and knocked me off balance. But it was awesome. It was an awesome night, and it was a great game. Of course, you guys saw it.
Yep. That was Billy, by the way, trying to knock you over.
Yeah, it probably was, right. Yeah, but, he's kind of soft, so it just barely knocked me over. Right? So we know that.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Dare you,
Yeah,
sir.
you heard that? Yeah, you're soft. That's right. Let's go.
PFT with Mike Florio, the Unbuttoned Podcast, Football Night in America. He's doing college football now. You're everywhere, Sim.
Hey.
Football, I love it.
I know. I'm everywhere is right. The last weekend was a lot, but NBC asked me to do some of the college football pregame for our Big Ten slate and all that. And it's a great opportunity. It's really cool to be a part of it. And I'm enjoying it. It's a little more work, that's for sure, but still all good. It really is. It's cool to do.
We'll get to the NFL in just a second. Texas Best team in the country. Oh my God, they're loaded, Chris.
We're loaded. We're real. I'm not going to say anybody's better than Georgia, right? Georgia's the best team in American sports for me over the last 3 years, right? That was like a disaster that they weren't in the Final Four last year. They lost one game in 3 years, and it was to the greatest coach and program in the history of football, and they didn't get in the final. So Georgia would be my one, but I think we're every bit in that class. I think the big thing with Texas, Stugotz, is just getting used to SEC football. Right? When you're in the Big 12, it's like, hey, we got to play Oklahoma, and then we're going to steamroll these next 3 teams. Are we going to win by 30 or win by 20? That's really all it comes down to. Now it's like, oh, no, you better be ready to play on a weekly basis here. You're not just going to steamroll everybody. You got to play pretty good quality football against everybody in the SEC if you want to win. And I think that's the only thing I worry about. But, damn, we look good is right. That is for real.
You really do. What do you make? Troy Aikman just came right out and said it. The quarterback play week 1 was awful. He said it was terrible across the board, and he attributes it to guys not showing up to training camp. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, I think it's some of that. I think it's lack of live reps in preseason football. I think it's all of it. I think it's the fact that you don't see the number one players, right? The starters out there on a consistent basis in a lot of these places. So, yeah, it becomes like, hey, we're not on the same page. Hey, we haven't had enough reps together. Hey, our offensive line didn't communicate right against this blitz. We let that guy get free. So I think there's a lot of that goes on, let alone – I said this last year, and I believe this year. Right now, we're in a phase where the defensive coordinators are ahead of most of the offensive coordinators in football. And the offensive coordinators, minus a Shanahan and a McDaniel and some of those special guys, got to start thinking of other ways to attack. Defensive coordinators, for the most part, have figured out the formula for a lot of these bullshit offenses that are going on in the NFL. And that's where that's got to change. The attack and how they read the field, to me, is a big thing here right now. Like, right, just for a basic, simple example, right? Most teams in football now have copied some of the things New England have done, which they should, right? Because they dominated football for 20 years. But like a lot of the times in offensive football, before New England, teams would go, wait, if it's 2 deep, we're going to throw over to this side. If it's 1 deep, we're going to play the concept on this side. New England didn't play like that. New England went, wait, I want you to look over here, and we're going to have a concept, and then we're going to make a concept over here that's going to come into your vision across the field so you can read it across the field and do that. Everybody in football does that now, and defensive coordinators play it to, hey, where the quarterback's eyes start, don't worry, everybody will come that way as he goes across the field, and some of that's got to change. These quarterbacks are too talented. The receivers are too good. You see Mahomes and Allen be able to look over here and have guys go the opposite direction on the other side, and they still flip the ball to the other side of the field. Even that's a no-no. And I think those are some of the things that got to change on the offensive side of the ball for a lot of these OCs.
How do you fix the slow start by these offenses? I mean, because we're not going to add more preseason time for these guys, but like, how does it actually get fixed?
I don't know if there's going to be a fix to this. I think we're going to have to get used to just seeing somewhat of a sloppy football to start a year, right? And September, teams kind of getting their bearings straight and all of that, and maybe being a little more simple like we see Cincinnati do every year. Let's be simple. Let's make sure we know what we do, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, but it's so simple. They know what you're doing. So I don't know if there's a real fix here other than I think teams are maybe going to have to reevaluate how hard they push their offenses through training camp and get real reps and maybe do a little bit more live scrimmaging and stuff like that. But I think this is going to be something we're going to see here for some time.
Chris, I want to get your evaluation of the 2 rookie quarterbacks through week 1. Caleb Williams first. I don't know if Caleb Williams had a bad game or if that offensive line is really, really bad.
Yeah, no, they had a bad game as an offense. Like, he wasn't perfect. I watched that film on Tuesday morning. It was one of the first things I wanted to watch. Here's the 2 things that I would say. He missed 1 or 2 throws, right, that you'd like to see him miss. You saw the highlight. He had Keenan Allen up the left sideline on an out and up one time, and he just let him too much, right? And you're going to miss some throws in football. But ultimately, you said it right, Stugotz. Their interior part of their O-line got their ass whooped by the Tennessee Titans. They steamrolled them. And he had a lot of pass plays where even watching the game on Sunday, I didn't give it enough credit for when I watched the film. I went, damn, he was under pressure more than I realized, let alone they couldn't run the ball. And then here's the big thing, Stugotz. They were too simple. They played he's a rookie.
Right.
Let's bring him along slow. Let's run our basic plays. And Tennessee was ready for it, and they were all over it. They didn't really ever give Caleb Williams a chance to attack. They ran the ball on first and second down on a lot of drives, and then it was like third and long, and it was like, hey, make something happen. And that's not an easy way to succeed. When they threw the ball on first down, he had success throughout the game. So I think this week they change because they know they're not going to beat the Houston Texans with training wheels on the offensive side of the ball.
Right.
If they want to play and be competitive in that game, they're going to have to open it up, and I think we see a different Caleb Williams this week. I'd be shocked if we don't.
It's unfair to Caleb because he also had that pass that was right in Keenan Allen's hands. That
Dropped
would have been a touchdown. Yes. Yeah.
Right.
So
next play was going to be a touchdown, too,
right.
and the left guard got run over. And as he was throwing it, he was going to throw another touchdown to Keenan Allen, and the ball got tipped. So, he got a little unlucky, but they got to play better as an offense and give him more of a chance, really.
Was that Will Levis pass, the pick six, the worst pass in NFL history?
Hey, a wise man once said, you never go full Tropic Thunder, and that was full Tropic Thunder right there. I don't know what other to say, all right? I mean, full Tropic Thunder. That was Carson Wentz, Jimmy Garoppolo-ish, right, at its best. I cannot believe he did it. And I love Callahan's quote. Did you see Callahan's quote on Monday, I believe?
No.
He literally said, well, I think if we just punted on first down the whole second half, we win the game, which was like a classic. It was so good.
Chris, is Deshaun Watson done?
I'm worried about it. He ain't the same. That's for sure. You guys know I do my quarterback rankings. You guys made my quarterback rankings famous. But I do it every year now because of that, right? Which is like a gift and a curse all at once. But at the same time, when
it's a curse you created, my man.
I know.
It's a curse because he's like,
blew it up. So
he's like, how do I slight Tua this year? Where do I put Tua?
Right. It's always a new angle on how I screw Tua over. That's all I worry about. But when I went back and did the rankings this year, when I watched back Deshaun Watson, I went, it's worse than I thought. It is. I mean, one, they call the game as if they don't trust him yet, right? And that's we're too deep in the career. Even last week, look at what they do last week. Like, hey, you're in trouble. Get in the shotgun, throw it around every play. Let's go. They're afraid to even do that because I don't think they know what he's going to do with the football. Is he going to get the protections right? Is he going to see the field right? Let alone the magic of Deshaun Watson's gone, right? I mean, he was a few years ago, I looked at him as just, man, top 5 quarterback, any tough situation. The guy makes a play. He makes it happen. He's got magic, charisma. He's got it all. But I think all this off-the-field issues have gotten to his psyche. And then not playing for so long has certainly affected him. His throwing's not as good. His backyard extend plays is almost non-existent, let alone here we are with more problems this week. So, I think he's under tremendous pressure, and it's not been good, and I got to see it to believe it before I buy into the Browns on that side of the ball.
So slightly related and quick follow-up, but not really. How did people miss on Baker? Like, how is it that he bounced around from team to team?
Well, they took him number 1, Billy. I mean,
well, no, but so this isn't just Cleveland Browns specific. It's the fact that he was out there. It's that he went to the Panthers. It's that the Panthers traded him. It's that he ends up in Tampa, and then he fits. He can take your team potentially to the playoffs, right? And not just that, at a discount, because he's making what, $30 million a year, which is half of what quarterbacks are getting now.
Hey, Billy, right? Like, Billy, we talk about this all the time. I mean, again, Mahomes, Allen, right? CJ Stroud, they can maybe make any offense work. Burrow, I get that. Most everybody else, though, needs a little help. And he went to the Jets, which is as we know. It's where quarterbacks start their careers to die before they even come alive. Mm-hmm. Okay, so there was that issue. He goes to Carolina. Hey, they were every bit as Billy. So, like, as I always say, when you're around and shit's everywhere, you start to smell and get shit on you. That's right. It, and you start to look not good. So he was in no situation to ever really that I would expect anybody to succeed. He went to the playoffs with the Browns, and then we held it against him that he was tough and a soldier and a baller and played with a bad shoulder. And it didn't go good, and everybody went, well, he's not good now. And that was not the case. So he's got a big-time arm. He sees the field well, and he's an aggressive decision maker. He fits what they want to do on the offensive side of the ball. I love what he's doing there. But this is, again, where, and this is why I like to do my quarterback rankings, Billy, separate. Sometimes we got to figure out how to separate team from player. And a lot of the times that crappy team affects player, and it's not the true picture of what the player actually is.
Is that what we're going to see with Sam Darnold also?
Tell me he's not good, Sims. Tell me he's not good.
Well, he is good. He's got more potential.
Yes!
He's got more potential to make that Minnesota offense look good than Kirk Cousins did. He's got more physical ability.
Wow.
His arm's stronger. He's got a quicker release. He moves better. They really can protect. I think the Vikings are one of the most best coached teams in all of football. We know Flores on the defensive side. He's one of the few guys in the game that can match wits with the Shanahan and the 49ers. So, yeah, Billy, I'm expecting like Minnesota fringe playoff team, maybe just misses out, but a big pain in the ass, and everybody's going to see what Sam Darnold's made of this year.
Chris, you brought up something interesting with Deshaun Watson, and I am wondering, when you have all that off-the-field stuff swirling around your head and you're not focused on just being a franchise quarterback, that has to impact play on the field, does it not? I would say in any line of work, if you're not focused,
Right. I mean, it definitely does, let alone like what you're saying, Stugotz, everywhere he walks or goes into a room, half the room looks at him and goes, there's that creep that did all that crazy stuff with the masseuses, right? So that's on him. You can see it on him. I mean, he's lost the magic in his eyes and his look and his charisma and the $1 million smile he had. It's all of it. He walks into any room and he feels, oh, there's Deshaun Watson. I like him. Oh, he's weird. Oh, that was kind of weird. That was horrible what he did. Oh, I like him. He knows, he feels all that. I think it's all affected him. No doubt about it, Stugotz.
What'd you make of Aaron Rodgers in week 1?
Some positives, right? I mean, the code got cracked by Shanahan. I mean, if you wondered who was going to outthink who, Saleh or Shanahan, I hope you didn't think it was going to be Saleh outthinking Shanahan. Because
I never thought it was going to be Saleh. I want to fire Saleh. I mean, I'm serious.
we never think it's going to be Saleh.
Well, don't go there yet. But, yeah, that's a tough first game with Shanahan. Shanahan's, I mean, come on. You know, he's the best offensive mind in the sport. So tough that way. There's positives from Rodgers, but I would be lying to you to sit here and tell you like I was in love with the way it looked. If I told you in my all honesty and what I said on my podcast yesterday, semi-concerning to me, the look overall. Again, yes, when he stands there and the pocket's clean, he's going to throw lasers. I don't doubt that. But as you saw, when he wants to hop and get both feet off the ground or try to move, none of that's going to happen. None of that. He's not going to run. And like Kirk Cousins, when people get around him, it's just like, get the ball out of my hand because I don't want to get my foot hurt. So that's what I worry about. I think it's going to be kind of like work in progress, ugly on the offensive side of the ball for a few weeks here. And we'll see if they can kind of hit a stride. But my big thing with Rodgers was, can he play the way he thinks he can play? And I say no. And I think there'll be an adjustment period there. I think they win this week, but I don't think it'll necessarily be pretty.
Before we go away from that game too much, I'm wondering how you are going to defend your boy, because poor Jordan Mason has the game of his life. They then ask him after the game, hey, when'd you know you were starting? He's like, I heard on Friday night. And then Shanahan's like, nope, never told him that. I don't know where he heard that from. And then the guy has to spend the greatest night of his life defending himself because he may have accidentally said the wrong thing, because funny business may have been at play there.
Well, your friend's a bleep hole. I mean,
it could have been, Billy. Like, again, I know every time it's the 49ers and the Shanahan, everybody thinks I have every story in the world. And it's not the way it always is, right?
You have a tattoo of his face on your chest. I mean, that's what I think.
Yeah. F you, okay? I do not, and you, all right? But obviously, so, like, here's how the NFL can work at times, right? And they said, I think they said this at least, where, Friday, he wasn't feeling 100%. In the NFL world, he's not feeling 100%. The coaches, the running back coach, hey, you might start this weekend, so better be ready. You got to be ready. You're starting. They kind of say that stuff, right off the bat. I've been the backup quarterback to a guy that's hurt, and they tell me I'm starting all week, right? You're starting. Then you get to Friday practice, and they're like, hey, he's feeling a little better. You're back on the bench, right? So oh, wait, I'm starting. I call mom and dad, hey, I'm starting this week. I'm starting, but they just want you to be prepared. I do think some of that could go on here too. So I don't think it was like they knew for sure McCaffrey wasn't playing. That I know that part for sure because I talked to Shanahan last week and he thought McCaffrey could play. So I don't think it was that. I think it was like, hey, you better be ready. We're not sure if he can. You got to approach it like you're a starter, start thinking you're a starter, and then that could happen. So that's what I would say to defend my buddy there. But I don't know all that. I don't know.
When you called your dad to tell him you were starting, he was like, no, Chris, you're not starting yet. Like, let's get to Friday, right? Like, Big was like, hey, easy, kid.
Yeah, easy. Yeah, I know. It happened to me once where I started practice the whole week. I was in Denver, and I came in on the day of the game, and they were like, hey, Orton's feeling pretty good. Well, we're going to let you start, but he's going to back up. And I wanted to literally raise my hand and just go fucking start him. Because as soon as I throw 2 incompletions, you're going to go, let's get him back in there. And that's kind of what happened. They never really gave me a chance to start. I got strip sack fumbled as we drove down the field one time in field goal territory, and that put it all in their head. I can still remember going, damn, I wish he was hurt and couldn't suit up at all so I could have I could play and not have somebody looking over my back. And that stinks when you have that.
I like the idea of this being like a boy who cried wolf situation where you keep calling your parents like, I'm going to start this week, and they go to the game and you never do. And then when you actually start, they're not there. They're like, Christopher, you keep telling us you're going to start. He's lying again.
Yeah, right.
I also like the idea
this week. I promise.
I also like the idea of Chris Sims writing a book of philosophy. If you're around, you're going to smell like. I mean,
hey, something's going to get on you. It's going to have a little on your sleeves. It's going to happen.
Right, if you're around, of course.
Yeah.
Chris, more concerning for me with the Jets is their defense, because Sal is a defensive coach. He came in here. The defense was good, but 6 of the last 9 games, that defense, now it carries back to last year, they've given up 28-plus points. I'm concerned there because the reason I was so excited about Rodgers was I felt like if we could just get 24 points, we'll have a shot at winning every single game.
Yeah, I say don't give up on it. Here's where I'm concerned. Well, you know, you guys both, all 3 of you know my thoughts. The Seattle scheme, I'm not in love with it. The Jets get away with it because they're super talented. But as you saw the other night, Shanahan got in formations and knew exactly how they were going to line up and had run plays called that were like, I don't care how good you run your defense. This play is going to have an open hole no matter what because of how you schematically lined up and assign your plays to certain areas. There's nothing you can do. And that's what always worries me about them. That's where their defense is top 5, but they don't win enough games for me, right? Cleveland's defense last year would win games for them, cause turnovers, do all that. But because you guys are kind of like, this is what we do, there's no trickeration. It's just kind of hard to make plays against a talented team. Where I worry about it, Stugotz, is it's a copycat league, and when teams watch a team do like what the 49ers to the Jets, it spawns ideas, right? So Bill Callahan of the Titans, who's an awesome offensive line coach, is going to go, wait, I can run those plays Shanahan did, and I see what he's doing here. This gives me some other ideas from other formations we get in, and now it's going to jumpstart teams being a little more creative in the run game. So they better fix it up, or it can become a snowball type of problem here as we go. But I'm not ready to be concerned yet. It's still super talented, and we got a lot of damn players at all 3 levels on that D.
Are we going back to a run-first league? I mean, week 1, it was 188 yards passing for every team, on average, and 121 rush yards. Is that just week 1, or is this where we're going back to?
Well, I think it's again, we've talked about defenses have gotten creative, have figured out offenses, and if you look at the top offenses in football from last year, I mean, Detroit it's a great running team, great offensive line. San Francisco 49ers, we know it's about the run game, right? The Miami Dolphins, even though we talk about Tyreek and Tua, they run the ball at the highest yards per carry in football last year, something like that. So, yeah, the Rams were a top 10 offense. Run the ball. Kyron Williams, one of the best running backs. I think it is what you have to do right now. I think it's what you have to do because the defense, the other issue that we've talked about in the past is defensive lines are way more talented than the offensive lines right now. I mean, most teams got 2 defensive lines on their team, and a lot of teams are like, wait, we barely have 5 good offensive starters on the offensive line because of college football and the rules and everything there. So running the ball to be able to force a team into, some of these sets where, hey, you better get an extra guy from the secondary down here. You better put the linebacker on the line of scrimmage. Right now, the play-action pass off the teams that run the ball is the most successful way to pass the ball and get explosive plays in the game right now. So that's where it is. The drop-back pass, and you guys hear me make fun of it, the West Coast, slant flat, we're going to be on rhythm. These defensive coordinators and defensive players have seen all that so much now by this time in their life. It does nothing. So you got to come at them with a different angle, and I think a lot of the good offenses you're seeing, the Chiefs winning the Super Bowl were a defense run team last year. And that's where there is the advantage to be had right now in the NFL.
Chris, I watch Bryce Young, and I'm nervous. Like he's so tiny out there. He's running around. The team's not very good. Are you ready to call it on Bryce Young? Like that, he's never going to be good?
I'm not ready to call it, but I've yet to really watch a game where I've been impressed by him. Right? I've yet to really watch a game where I've gone, he's not overwhelmed today. There might have been 1 or 2 last year, but for the most part, just like we saw the other day, he looks overwhelmed. He looks, physically small, physically wants to get the ball out of his hands. I'm never like, oh, wow, he's fast or what a great move. And I'm never like, oh, wow, what a great throw. Ooh, laser, any of that. No, but he knows how to play the position, but he's going to need a lot of help, right? And everyone who wants to bag on them about drafting Bryce Young, I just want to make clear because, we all give Carolina crap for taking him number 1. Most people in football had freaking Bryce Young as their number 1 quarterback.
They did.
The Houston Texans were going to take Bryce Young if they had the first pick.
Wait, if the Texans had the first pick, they're not taking
They were
CJ
taking
Stroud.
Bryce Young.
Okay.
They know it. I know it. Everybody that knows anybody down there that knows it. Bryce Young was they look like geniuses, but it's by default. So that's why I don't want to crap on Carolina too much. But I had my concerns coming out with him and some of the issues there. And I'm a little concerned about it, Stugotz. There's no doubt.
So is it more than just he's surrounded like crap, he smelled like crap?
Yeah, it's a little more there. I haven't seen enough. Like, I would defend Sam Darnold back in the day and Baker Mayfield, right? Because I'd go, man, I still see some plays and throws that make me go, wow, that's starting quarterback caliber type stuff right there, right? I can see through that. I don't see that yet with Bryce Young, and hopefully that changes. Again, I'm rooting for him, and he's in a very tough situation. There's no doubt about that.
There's a good idea in there. These guys aren't as smart as you think they are. Like people who have lucked into picks because the other team took the wrong guy. I love that.
No doubt. No doubt about it, right? Yeah, 100%.
Listen, now we know why Joe Shane was caught on camera on video looking for a quarterback. Daniel Jones, man, what is going on, Sims?
Well, it wasn't good. I mean, we know that. They got their ass whooped thoroughly across the board, though, again. That's what I would like to say. I mean, I know he threw 2 interceptions, but, one was when the game was over, and the other one was when the game was over. I mean, It was over. So, but still, it didn't look good. Did he miss some throws? Did he miss a few reads? Certainly. It's concerning. This is a big week for the New York Football Giants. I think if they don't win this week, Daniel Jones will be benched. I really do. Wow. I don't think you'll see him there on the game 3 if they lose. And the fans up here, Giants fans, WFAN calling into Boomer and Gio, and they're going crazy up here right now. The Giants were embarrassed last week. There's no other way to say it. This is a big game. I don't think they're totally overmatched. I picked the Giants to win a close one against Washington because of a little bit of a desperation. And Dayball's on the hot seat already up here.
Well, and what makes matters worse, I'm sure, and you're a Giants fan, so it's fine, but what makes matters worse is Saquon Barkley was the best player on Philadelphia.
Well, no doubt about it. Now, I don't think the Giants are maybe even good enough to really showcase Saquon the way, right, to that point again, right? We're talking about, again, you get on a team, and all of a sudden they just give you a little room for success, and you go, oh, holy shit, is he the best running back in football? I think he is. Right. He was my pick for Offensive Player of the Year. Where I don't like about the Giants is I think they misevaluated Saquon's talent a little bit, and even Xavier McKinney at safety. I think they misevaluated the market and how good of a player he was there. But yeah, it wasn't a great look for them, and I think Philadelphia's going to enjoy giving the ball to Saquon and shoving it up where the sun don't shine on the New York Giants on that one.
I don't want to root for Daniel Jones to lose his job, right? But I kind of want to root for the idea of Drew Lock coming in as the backup, and then after like 1 week, we're already flirting with we need Tommy DeVito again. That's what I'm hoping for, is we get back to the Tommy DeVito situation again.
I listen. I don't think I don't see like any silver lining. So it wouldn't be shocking, Billy. It would not be shocking.
No, but what Chris is saying is when you're around roses and flowers, you smell like roses and flowers. When you're around A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith and Dallas Goedert and that offensive line and Jalen Hurts, you're going to play better.
Exactly right. There's space. The defense gets to worry about other things, right? When you played the Giants, everybody was just like, Saquon. Who cares about anything else? As long as he doesn't beat us, they can't beat us. And that's not the case in Philadelphia. They got a lot of ways to beat you, let alone that offense is going to be better with how they're running it under Kellen Moore.
All right, last question. We get you out of here. Joe Burrow, risk, concerns?
I mean, I'm not concerned. I'm not picking them to win this week. Right, last week was annoying. They blew some opportunities to score and kind of get the game on their side as far as momentum and starting the Patriots to make them play a game they didn't want to play, right? Because of their turnovers and some of the mistakes, they allowed New England's offense to really just keep running the ball, control the clock, do all of that. And then, I worry about the Bengals in that they slow start on offense. They're a little too basic always early in the year. And then the Jamar Chase, T. Higgins stuff is real. I mean, those are distractions. They're real things. So, I'm taking the Chiefs to win this week. I didn't make it like a best bet or anything. Right. But it looks like it's going to be the typical Bengals where they're going to have to turn this around on the fly and start to get hot in October and November like we've seen the last few years.
All right, PFT with Mike Florio, the Unbuttoned podcast, Football Night in America. He's doing college football on Saturdays. He's got no time to smoke weed. They got a beauty by the way, this Sunday night. They have the Bears and the Texans. I can't wait to see that game. Sims, we appreciate it. It's good to have you back. We'll talk to you next week. What are you going to do? I mean, your whole weekend, you're working. This is a disaster.
I know. It's all right. Well, I got to enjoy my Thursday nights. Tonight's when I do drinky, smoky, and I watch the game in the barn and have some fun. So don't you worry. I'll find my time to get it in. I can promise you that.
I know you will. And he's got a security team. So, they'll just tell everyone to back the off.
No doubt. I don't need people like Billy all over me all the time. Jeez. See you guys. Always good.
What's up, guys? How have you been?
Big Mike, Carl?
Mojo's in Mexico, by the way.
Of course he is. Yep.
What, closing on another house?
Honeymoon number 69. I told him, I said, Mojo, you coming on this year? And he's like, listen, I got a few stipulations before I come on. I need not too many people on at a time. It's kind of confusing.
Yeah.
Make sure you play Toto by Africa in the waiting room while I'm waiting. Bro, this guy had like 28 things he told me.
It's a fair request.
He did tell us to think about too many people. And then
by the way, it's Africa by Toto.
Right. That's a fine.
Yeah. I think if I'm going to be honest, KFunk, and you're not going to like this, I don't think Mojo likes that you're on every week. And
I think that's
it.
Right. I think he'd be fine with 5,000 people in here as long as one of them wasn't you.
I think he'd be okay with Sharebear and Gordy. It's really the KFunk of the situation. I think that's the hold up here. Well, good old KFunk, I will tell you this. Stugotz, you're not aware of this, but good old KFunk sent me picks last week anyways, even though we did not have KFunk on the show.
How'd he do?
I got picks for KFunk, Gordy, Sharebear, and Mojo last week, and I have the results if you would like them.
That was Mojo's idea.
Okay.
What's picks anyway?
All right, hold on, K-Funk. I would like the results from last week. Carl did not send his picks in.
No.
Okay.
I didn't know about it. No one told me.
I told Billy.
Listen,
I didn't ask for them, Carl. I didn't ask for
Carl,
these
we didn't
picks.
ask you. There's a good chance that you're still in first place anyway. Yeah. So let's hear it out, okay?
All right, so we were talking this out because of Mojo's request, and I wanted to say this to the class and see what the reaction is.
No. There's no saying it to the class and seeing what the reaction is. You make the rules around here, Billy Gill.
Well, I know, but then K-Funk comes in and he just creates his own rules and then just kind of takes things over. And I'm like, okay.
All right.
Fine. Yeah.
So why don't you float the idea by him and just gauge reaction?
So this is is Mojo in or no?
Yeah, he's right here.
Mojo's right there.
All right, Mojo, we can't see you right now. They're setting this up for us. But Mojo, I have, I think, a solution to the problem. KFunk has told us that you had a number of requests. And he said that one of them was that there's too many people, but then he said there was other requests as well. So what I'm thinking we do is one of two things. I think what we can do is we either have the person with the worst record the week before eliminated automatically in like a suicide pool, or we can have the winner of that week choose to eliminate someone.
Oh, what if there are two winners?
If there's two winners, then they can get together and then see if we can get on the same page. If not, I think maybe the winner eliminates someone, which, and I don't want to lead the witness here, and Carl, don't accuse me of that, but I will say that in the picks that we didn't ask for, Mojo won last week. Mojo went 3-1-1. Everyone else, Sharebear, Gordy, and KFunk went 2-2-1. So we could possibly be in a position here where Mojo can choose someone he wants to eliminate from this segment entirely.
Okay, but
well, we can't start that yet.
No, it wasn't official because Carl didn't put the picks in yet, so it wasn't.
Well, I think we know who Mojo would eliminate.
And Mojo would definitely eliminate K-Funk.
This is the problem that the show has been missing without the spread
there he
master
is. I love you.
It's just gone to shambles. I mean, we're letting anybody in on this thing. It wasn't a matter of having too many people in the chat. It was having the wrong people in the chat. I mean, God bless football used to stand for something. Now we got jabronis in here left and right.
Name names.
Mojo hasn't even been on the show in a year and a half and just submits his picks and wins automatically again without even trying.
Right.
So, I mean, that's it. I mean, the record's out there. We did this on purpose.
You're calling your good friend Gordy Gronkowski a jabroni, it sounds like, and Sharebear, it sounds like to me.
No, I didn't call them individually a jabroni. I called each and every single one of you jabroni.
Hey,
so
take that back about Carl Douglas. You take it back right now.
Yeah. This is season 4 for me, buddy. In the last 2 seasons, I won. So
Mojo, hypothetically.
Yeah, Mojo wasn't on those seasons. When Mojo's on the show, Mojo wins every time, as evidenced by the week 1 pick. So I'd like to start this out just taking the reins on this thing. And as the week 1 champion, I would immediately, swiftly like to remove Funk from the chat.
Okay, but we're not starting it. But we all agree this is the way we're going to do it moving forward. Is that fair? Are we good with this?
So, KFunk, you're on probation right now.
Mojo's on top once again. The spread master.
All right, but Carl didn't make
earned, not given.
But Carl didn't make his pick. So, do we all agree? Gordy, Sharebear, Carl Douglas, Mojo. Do we all agree? KFunk. Do we all agree the winner will eliminate someone the following week?
I would say right now.
Just for that week or forever?
Well, KFunk, you're on probation right now because we're just you'll be
I'm
able to.
asking. I need clarification. They're not allowed the next week, or they're not allowed for the rest of the season?
Depending on who gets eliminated, we'll make that decision.
That's a fair point. Yes,
exactly. It'll be a case by case basis. Can you guys all turn your cameras
between 3 and 5?
Yes,
horizontally.
That's a joke from earlier in the episode.
Video.
Got it. Mojo, just stay right where you are. I mean, you're on a beach in Mexico. You look fantastic.
Turn your camera sideways if you can, just so we can put it out the video. Yeah.
And listen, I love all your faces,
Sharebear, you
but the face that's making me smile right now, and he's had a hell of an offseason, is Gordy Gronkowski. I mean, he looks fantastic. Look at him, Billy. He looks amazing. He looks fresh.
I'm distracted
he looks
by
sober.
Mexico. Mexico looks incredible.
Yeah, I know. Mojo, House Hunters. They tell me you were on an episode of House Hunters. We have some questions real quick before we get to the games.
Bring it on, baby. Let's do it.
Did you know, this is going to ruin the show for me if his answer is yes. Did you know the house you were going to select before you went to look at the 3 houses?
I am trying to remember if I signed documentation that prevents me from answering.
Right. Don't answer that. Don't answer that.
We'll take it as a yes. Carl's a yes.
Carl would tell you not to answer that.
Oh, boy.
When in doubt, don't answer. When in doubt, don't answer.
Yeah, that's right. Carl coming through. All right, Carl, you're back in.
Thank you, baby.
I will say this, though. Here's the problem, hypothetically speaking, if that was the truth.
Right.
If they line up some houses that you potentially like better than your house, that creates a problem.
So I'm told that you like the one with a yurt in the back, but you didn't get that one. Is that accurate?
So the yurt house was unbelievable just because the property was massive. You don't find space like that in Florida. So that being said, the house was disgusting. We would have had to blown up the whole thing and started from scratch, and I don't have the patience for that crap. So otherwise, it probably would have gone that way.
All right. Are you guys ready for the games? Because we have to get Carl Douglas out of here. He's going to play golf. He's a busy man. Okay. And I would suggest if you win, do not eliminate Carl. Okay. Don't do it. Because listen, I love you guys, but anyone on this Zoom call might need Carl at any moment, any day, any year.
Carl just saved Mojo.
All right.
You never know.
Yes. Let's keep him around.
I'd be willing to bet that Mojo is only going to show up for about 4 episodes anyway.
Well,
we'll
you're
see.
lucky if you're on next week, KFunk.
Yep.
You already should have been
Yeah,
eliminated.
you're not even going to be on the show because I already won last week, and next week you're out, pal. I already made. Actually, you know what? Even better than that, next week you're going to be on. You're just not allowed to say anything. You're going to be muted the whole time, and you're just going to have to sit there and take it.
Wow.
Okay. Well, if he wins, he might eliminate you. We'll see.
We'll see if the
I'm
rules are
casting in my week 1 victory. I'm out. in the
Listen,
lead
I
here,
have
brother.
confidence in KFunk. He's getting back to his roots. He's becoming an alcoholic again. I mean,
Goodness.
You know
what, Kate?
I might be at Penthouse next week for the show, dude.
all right.
Never know.
I think Sharebear just pointed to his watch. That means he's got to go. Okay, so let's get to this right now. Here we go. Saints and Cowboys. Cowboys are -6.5, coming off a big win. Dak got the big contract. The Saints actually look good in week 1. So we have Saints and Cowboys. Sharebear, I will start with you. Cowboys are a 6.5 point favorite at home.
Love it. I'm going to be in Dallas here in like 2 weeks, so I'm excited to, I'm going to go with the Cowboys. Just, hoping they get a couple wins. They're big fair weather fans, so always fun to party with the Cowboys when things are good.
All right. Let's go to KFunk. KFunk, who do you like here?
I like the over, but I guess I'll take the Saints here.
that.
I think 6.5. I'll take the points there.
All right, you're taking the Saints. Carl Douglas, who do you like here?
I gotta go with the points as well, so I'm gonna take the Saints as well. I picked up Carr in my fantasy league as a backup.
Okay, I like the reasoning there. Let's go to Saints and Cowboys. Cowboys -6.5. Gordy, who you taking here?
Dude, I got to go with the Cowboys. Chris Gronk started the Gronk spike when he was on the Cowboys. And you got Glenn, you got Goose and Chris both in Dallas. And you heard what TB12 said. He loves the way Dak controls that offense. So Cowboys all day.
All right, Mojo, KFunk took the Saints here. Do I even need to ask you? Or go ahead. Go ahead, Mojo.
I just wanted to applaud your memory, sir, because that's exactly what I was about to say. I was more inclined to take New Orleans here this year, but the second K-Funk opened his fat mouth, it immediately flipped my pick to the Dallas Cowboys. So give me the points. I'm taking the Cowboys.
Okay, let's go to the second game. Mojo, I'm going to start with you, so K-Funk can go opposite, hopefully. Bucks at Lions. Lions are a 7-point favorite at home against Baker Mayfield. That seems like a lot of points. Anyway, go ahead, Mojo.
Oh, I'm taking the Lions, pal. Give me Detroit all day because Dan Campbell might as well be my brother.
Okay. Love Dan Campbell. Gordy, who you taking here?
I have to go with the Bucks, dude.
All right.
I don't know. 7 just seems like way too many points, and I don't think they can cover 7 back-to-back years in Detroit.
All right, let's go to K-Funk. K-Funk, who you taking?
I mean, this is a very disrespectful line after the way the Bucks played. So I'm going with the Lions in the dome, man.
That doesn't make sense. You said it was a disrespectful line, and you went with the team.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Like, why is it so much, dude?
Just say you're picking what the spread master takes.
I'm taking the
do that.
Lions.
Say you're following in my shadow, and you need Big Brother to make your picks for you. Just say it, Funk.
Jesus.
I'm so glad you're back, Mojo. Don't ever leave me. Let's go. Let's go to Sharebear. Sharebear, who are you taking here?
Hoping to have a good time up in Tampa with good old Gordy here in a couple of weeks. So I'm going with the Bucks.
I like it. Sharebear. Carl Douglas, who are you taking?
Man, I like the Detroit Lions. I'll take the Lions to give up the points.
All right, Carl. I'm going to start with you for the next. I'm going to start with you for the next game here. The Chiefs are at home. Joe Burrow and the Bengals are coming in. Great game. Chiefs -5 at home, taking on Cincinnati.
Every game this year, I'm taking the Chiefs. Wow. I've learned my lesson. I'm not going to go against Mahomes this year.
All right, let's go to KFunk. KFunk, go ahead.
Carl, I'm with you on one thing. Every game, I will take the Chiefs unless they're playing the Mahomes killer. Joe Big Burrow owns Mahomes. Give me the Bengals.
All right.
Sorry.
The Bengals. Mojo, congratulations. You get the
Unnecessary.
Chiefs. How about that? I mean,
Goodness gracious. I mean, I already wanted the Chiefs beforehand. Now that the Bengals got an endorsement from Funk, who never knows what he's talking about, this decision couldn't be easier for me. My goodness.
all right, Gordy, who you taking here? The Chiefs, I bet, right?
Just closed the madness, mad big fitness deal in Kansas City. I'm going with the Chiefs just because I got a new fitness deal out there and I have to fly there. So
And you don't want to
Flex
piss,
on 'em,
and
boys,
you don't,
flex on
you don't
'em.
want to piss off the customers, potential customers, right?
Exactly.
I get it. Right, good. How do you play? Sharebear, go ahead.
I didn't pick. No, and honestly, I don't want to be one of those guys that jumps on the Kansas City kind of bandwagon. But I was down there about 3 weeks ago and had me a great night downtown at the PBR, professional bull riding, little bar action. And
I saw that. Yes.
I love that place.
Yeah.
I love that place.
Yeah.
So I'm going with the Chiefs.
All right. Yeah, we saw that when we were in Kansas City last week. It's very cool. Let's go to Bears at Texans. Man, good games this week. Bears won despite Caleb Williams. Texans, they had the game of the weekend against the Colts. They are a good team, man. They are -6 at home, taking on Chicago. We'll go to Gordy first. Gordy, who do you like here?
did you not hear what the coach said for the Titans? He said all we had to do was punt the ball every play and we would have won. So I have to go with the Texans on this versus the Bears.
That's so good. Let's
I'd
go
like to choose next.
Go ahead, Mojo. Go.
Yeah.
Here we go.
I'd like to choose next just preemptively, and I'd like you to write on the sheet.
Mm-hmm.
Funk is in last place. Mojo, the spread master, is in first place.
Okay.
So I'm preemptively picking opposite whatever Funk says before he makes his pick.
Okay, I like
Okay.
it. Do I have to write
Thank
that
you.
down? Really? It's wordy. I mean,
Yeah, write all that down, please.
Okay.
Verbatim.
Okay.
Verbatim.
What was it again?
you.
Well, what do we do about the Lions? Because he chose the Lions after you chose the Lions.
That's not my fault.
Well, I mean, I picked first. So
yeah, so I think
okay.
Mojo's saying moving forward
All
here.
right,
All
all
right,
right.
so K-Funk, make your pick so we know what Mojo has.
I could care less what Mojo picks. He's a terrible picker.
Oh,
He's
wow.
the
That's first place.
spread master.
He's
It
first.
should be an embarrassment that people call him.
Make your pick.
He picked first.
Anyway, I would never bet on the Bears this whole year. So give me the who are they playing? Houston. Give me Houston.
Okay.
All right, so
son of a made me pick the Bears.
All right.
What a
Wow.
that was a personal move.
he didn't make you pick anything. You made yourself pick it. It was your rule.
This is the world we live in, Stu.
Yeah.
Let's go to Carl. Carl, who you taking here?
I like the Texans. They got a strong team getting better.
Hell yeah. That's how you do it. You're efficient, Carl Douglas. That's a man who's got to get to the first tee. Let's go. Sharebear, did you pick this game yet?
I have not picked it yet. And honestly, as much as I love good old Mike Jones in Houston, I think I'm going to go with the spread master here.
Wow.
I'm going to go with the spread master.
Nice.
And, it's a good year for Chicago. Devin Hester finally gets in the Hall of Fame that he deserved.
That means
And I think it's going to be a good week. I think the Bears. I'm going with the Bears.
All right, Sharebear, I like it. I'm going to you first here. Falcons at Eagles. Eagles -6.5 at home. Who you taking, Sharebear?
I'm sitting here in Atlanta right now, so I just got to go with the Falcons.
Right.
Got to go with the Falcons.
When in
I'm
Rome.
sitting here right now.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Yep. Let's go to Gordy. Gordy, Falcons at Eagles. Eagles -6.5.
I don't know. As much as I want to go with the Eagles right now at home, it feels like they should blow them out. But I feel like week 2, it's always opposite. So I'm going with the Falcons and Kirk Cousins. They got to cover this.
Did you close some sort of deal in Atlanta? What's the matter with you?
That's week 2. It's
I don't know. No, Sharebear's there right now, and I'm jealous. I'm not partying with them.
Let's go to K-Funk. K-Funk, who you taking here? Falcons at Eagles. Eagles -6.5.
Listen, the shitty is Atlanta played. They have a good defense. Good offense. I think Cousins is going to do great this year. Pitts, Bijan. Give me Atlanta to cover. Give Mojo the Eagles.
Okay.
Goodness, you're making this so easy on me.
You
Not even having to apply any wisdom here.
You knew the
You're
house.
just that dumb. It makes it that easy for me.
Mojo, you knew the house before the show aired, right?
You can't say, don't say that.
Okay, you signed
Yeah, just-
something. I get it. Forget it. You knew the house. Just give me a wink if you knew that. Don't wink. Okay. Carl, final pick. Here we go.
I told you he knew the house, too, guy. I told you that part. This is a tough one. Kirk Cousins' leg is still bad. I'm going with the Eagles. Give it the points.
Okay. All right. So those are the picks. The group is back together. I am very excited about this. This is very exciting for me, Billy, Mikey A, and the fans of God Bless Football. So whoever wins will eliminate. And if we have a tie, you guys will become a committee. Whoever wins will eliminate someone. I have a feeling K-Funk's going to get eliminated a lot. Sorry, K-Funk. I love you.
Yeah. And remember, I did win week 1, so document that.
Yeah.
Okay. Week 1 did not count.
Remember, Mojo, how much endorsement money I've gotten in your lifetime.
All right.
Speaking of which, I got something to say, fellas.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Do it quickly, please.
You have to understand that you're messing with the spread master this season. The spread master is back on God Bless Football, and as such, I am the king of making these picks. I'm the king. I'm number one. I'm best in business, much like my partners at DraftKings, who are giving all new customers who bet just $5 $250 in bonus bets instantly, plus 1 month of NFL Plus Premium, which would be great for Funk to study for his picks this year. So the Kings are back, baby. DraftKings and Mojo on God Bless Football. Let's go. Already in the lead, first place. Domination again.
It is great to have you back. You are an excellent endorser. Carl Douglas, promote that wonderful law firm of yours, sir.
You know it. It's Douglas Hicks Law. We do it all. Douglas Hicks Law, Los Angeles, and the world.
All right. Gordy, promote fitness equipment. Gronk Fitness Equipment. Go ahead, Gordy. Promote it.
From design to delivery, you need your gym decked out right here, baby. We just did some of the Patriots locker room, fitness center. What NFL team's next for us to Gronk out? Let's go.
I love it. All right, Sharebear, what do you got?
Just sitting here, Legacy Pro Sports, helping over 5,000 former NFL players. Just happy to be here. Happy to be amongst you 7-8 legends,
We're happy to have you. KFunk, anything to promote?
Welcome back, Mojo. I love you.
All right, boys. Good luck this week. Carl, thank you so much for everything on this episode, and we will talk to you guys next week, okay?
Good to be back,
God bless
fellas.
football.
God bless football. God bless fucking Mojo. Stugotz here. Smirnoff knows there's no I in football. It's a we thing, an experience best enjoyed together. Whether you are at home or away, we rally together, we cry together, and we always rally cry together. Because in fandom, there's definitely no I. As the world's #1 vodka and the official vodka partner of the NFL, Smirnoff brings an award-winning taste to every game day celebration. Grab a bottle of Smirnoff at your local retailer and head to Smirnoff.com to find recipes of delicious cocktails perfect for game day. Please drink responsibly. Smirnoff, #21 vodka, distilled from grain, 40% alcohol volume. The Smirnoff Company, New York, New York. Please do not share with anyone under legal drinking age.
Folks, it's tailgate time at Raising Cane's. Whether you're rooting for your squad or that other team, Cane's craveable combos rally every fan for the greatest game day ever. Make some epic memories with some cooked-to-order chicken fingers, crispy crinkle-cut fries, buttery Texas toast, and that reigning MVP, that signature Cane's sauce. So grab your crew, make your next tailgate a touchdown. Game days are better together. Game days are better with Cane's. Raising Cane's chicken fingers. One love.